So today we have the pleasure to speak to Chris Crump, Senior Director and Sales and Marketing at Comrex, about one of their latest products, the BRIC-Link III, which is a new and enhanced addition to the BRIC-Link line for remote broadcast. Right, I'll just go straight into it and ask for our viewers who are maybe new to the world of broadcasting and don't have that much knowledge around this type of technology. Putting it simply, what is Comrex's BRIC-Link, and what does the BRIC-Link do?
So the BRIC-Link is an IP audio codec, and it's really designed to do low latency, high quality two-way audio over a IP circuit, an internet circuit. It doesn't have to necessarily be internet. It could also be a private wired IP circuit. It could be a wireless IP circuit. It works on anything that has valid IP addresses on both ends and a clean network throughout. And it's used in a bunch of different ways. And that's really just simplifying it. BRIC-Link really is more of a Swiss Army knife, if you will, for doing audio, because it also does HTTP streaming. It does multi-streaming. It does IP multicast. It does RTP. It does TCP, which is kind of inefficient, but it still does it. It does a lot of stuff in this cool, small little half rack box.
The BRIC-Link III is part of a line of codecs from Comrex. So what are the new features of this BRIC-Link?
BRIC-Link II came out in about 2014 because we couldn't make the BRIC-Link Classic anymore because technology changes, processors change. And that's really the reason why we have the BRIC-Link III. The BRIC-Link III came about because we could no longer get the processor needed to make the BRIC-Link II. So there was a firmware redesign, and we're always updating the firmware, but the hardware had to be redesigned. And when we did that, we decided to add some of these cool quick connect buttons on the front and a whole new light pipe feature set that basically shows the status of the connections. So what you can do is when you create a connection, a device you want to connect to, you can assign it to one of these 4 buttons. And by clicking on it, it'll basically connect. So you don't have to have a web GUI interface to get into it. There's also a power indicator on this, which is kind of over on this side. Power indicator, which is kind of new for this device because we never really thought that you needed to know that the power was on because you would see the VU working. Yeah. But we were mistaken. So we put a power light on there, and then the new quick connect buttons, and then these cool quick connect and light indicators. The powerful processor that's in here is the newest, latest, greatest. Gives it a lot more capability in terms of multi-streaming and IP multicast.
I also want to talk about the Comrex Gagl, which is another new service, a cloud service, which is compatible with the BRIC-Link III. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, we came up with Gagl because we had a pretty successful launch of a product called Opal. And Opal basically uses a web browser for a guest or a remote contributor to open up. Basically, you create a link, you send it to the guest, and then the guest clicks on it. It opens up the default browser on their screen, and as long as it's compatible, as long as it's Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Safari, if it's the most recent browser, it will connect to the Opal directly. And it uses the Opus coding algorithm that's actually embedded in that browser to connect to our device. And as long as they have a good quality headset connected to their MacBook or their PC or their smartphone, it's going to sound like they're sitting in the studio. So that technology has really helped, especially in the COVID, the period where there were so many people that had to broadcast from home. You needed contribution from people all over the planet. Made it really easy. And you didn't have to send out an expensive hardware codec. You could basically just send a link. And as long as they had a good internet connection or a smartphone that had good 4G or Wi-Fi, they could basically do the broadcast. We had people using it for football matches and American baseball and American football and softball and all kinds of different sporting events and even reporting. But we wanted to come up with a way to make it a little bit easier and more accessible. So we created a service called Gagl. Gagl actually allows you to use an Access or a BRIC-Link instead of having a dedicated Opal box. So You still go into a web browser, you create a link, you send it to the guest, they click on it, and it basically connects to an internal cloud server, and you can have up to 5 people that connect into that cloud server. They're all internally gaggled together so they can hear each other. And then the moderator, when he's ready to connect to the studio, hits connect to codec, and it will use SIP to connect to an Access or a BRIC-Link in the studio. So it makes it very, very simple and very user-friendly. It doesn't have to be 5 people. It could just be one reporter that is at a football match or at a political rally, connects into Gagl, connects to codec, and you're on the air.
Part of outside broadcasting software that is also in the offering of Clyde Broadcast is the Comrex Access NX reporter kit. How does the BRIC-Link integrate with this reporter kit?
Well, all of our IP codecs, whether it's a BRIC-Link Classic, a BRIC-Link II, a BRIC-Link III, our earliest access, our earliest access portable, or the Access to USB, they all communicate together. And that includes our latest, which is the Access NX Rack and the Access Multi-Rack, and also the Access NX Portable. They all communicate together. They all share BRIC normal compatibility. And they also, if they have compatible firmware, can use our cross-lock reliability feature, which makes it very, very, very reliable and solid for connections. It's really the best thing about our IP audio codecs is that cross-lock feature. It just it gives you the ability to bond multiple data connections together. There's also an adaptive management engine in there that's actually monitoring all of the data connections. And if there are lost packets, it can load balance and shift them over to a usable network, quarantine unusable networks. It's kind of an amazing piece of technology. And I can't say enough about it. You really just need to get a demo from Clyde, try it out, and really experience the reliability for yourself.